So I want to take a look at what Josh Jacobs had to say on Chris Long's podcast, Green Light, and I want to share this clip here. And Josh Jacobs basically goes into detail as to the different reasons he's excited to be on this Packers team, and we'll start off with this clip.
Obviously, this is a really good team, and that was the main thing. When I watched film, like 10, Jordan. He's very special. I think he's going to be the next guy in this league from a quarterback standpoint. So I was excited to play with him, and then to come in and see all these young receivers that we have, and just see the way that they go about business, on a day-to-day. It made me kind of excited, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like, to have a line that's kind of been together and for a minute, and to be able to run behind them guys, and they're very vocal and things like that. Like, you could tell they got a little bit of dog in them. It's going to be fun, man. I told them it's going to be a fun year.
I think it's also probably exciting because you're going to really open up some of the play action game in different ways.
Yeah, and I was telling them that. I'm like, man, it's going to be fun because you don't know what to guard. Like, defense is going to have problems. Like, and if you decide to stop the run, the pass going to be there. You decide to stop the pass, the run going to be there. So it's going to be like you're going to have to pick which one you want. Yeah. But that's definitely a first in my career.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you probably as used to loaded boxes as anybody in the league. Like, man, was there a game that you remember where you're like, this isn't fair? Like, it's a 9-man box.
There was a lot of them like that. I've been the game. I'm like, man, like, I think besides, like, if it's a stat that I had read before the year had started, it was like, besides Derrick Henry, I faced the most loaded boxes than any other running back in the league. So, like, that's why I'm kind of excited about this year, because I'm like, hopefully it ain't going to be that way.
So when Josh Jacobs was trying to make his decision this offseason of where he wanted to go play football, I would imagine looking at the Green Bay Packers and comparing that situation, the way that the Packers ended off the season, playing as one of the best offenses in the NFL, destroying one of the best defenses in the NFL in the Dallas Cowboys, you would imagine that Josh Jacobs comparing his situation in Las Vegas with the Raiders, especially this past year, and then thinking about himself on this Packers offense with Jordan Love, had to get him pretty excited, and I see why he decided to come to Green Bay. And I do think that Jordan Love playing as well as he did, reaching the upper echelon of quarterbacks near the end of the season, I think helped the Packers when it came to trying to get players here in free agency. Because if Jordan Love had been played as one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, I doubt Josh Jacobs would have been as excited to come to Green Bay and want to play for the Packers. And that's a good point that he made when it came to that stat about running against loaded boxes, where in Vegas for all those years, even though Derek Carr, I think, is average to slightly below average quarterback in the NFL, he is never, Jacobs has never been on the type of team I think that the Packers have when it comes to the explosiveness on offense. You look at all the receivers here in Green Bay, just the talent level here on this Packers roster on offense, especially with Jordan Love being, I'd say, a top 5 quarterback. He's never had a quarterback of that caliber when he was with the Las Vegas Raiders, and he said that himself, basically saying, like, this is the best offense I've ever been on. And when you compare Josh Jacobs in his 2022 season where he won the rushing title to his 2023 year last year, where he took a dip when it came to production, went from like 4.9 yards per carry to like 3.5, I think a big part of that had to do with Derek Carr leaving and then having to be stuck with Jimmy G and Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. So when you think about last season and the jump he's going to get in quarterback play in 2024, it's going to be night and day for Josh Jacobs. And when it comes to those loaded boxes, there's not going to be a ton of loaded boxes here in Green Bay, because if teams decide to stack the box against the Packers, we have a quarterback who can beat you in any area of the field. Jordan Love, early in the season, his deep ball was struggling. He was having some issues there. That was one area of his game that we all knew he needed to improve on. And as the year went by, he was one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL when it came to deep balls. And so if you're a team in the NFL facing this Packers team, you try to load the box, good luck. Jordan Love, he's probably going to beat you. If Christian Watson's healthy, he's going to beat you deep. So teams really have to be ready for Jordan Love, and that means, if these teams aren't stacking the boxes, that is going to give Josh Jacobs a ton of opportunities to produce at a much higher level than he did last year in 2023 with the Las Vegas Raiders. And I think that when you look at Aaron Jones, all his time in Green Bay, he has been one of the more talented backs in the NFL, and we saw that to end last season. Last 5 or 6 games running for over 100 yards. Aaron Jones had the luxury of being with some of the best offenses in the league, going from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. And now Josh Jacobs will get to experience what it's like to play for a team as a running back that has a very, very solid passing attack. And I think from time to time, the Raiders had a nice passing attack, especially 2022, at least having Devontae there. Derek Carr and Devontae put up some nice numbers together back in 2022. But Josh Jacobs, I see why he wanted to come to Green Bay. If I was a running back trying to pick a team and trying to find a place where you think you could have success, being 26 years old, knowing that as a running back, most of these guys' career end around, well, they start to decline around 29, 30 years old. You look at a majority of running backs in the NFL in that history, guys pretty often start to decline 29, 30 years old. And so he is going to have a few years to really capitalize and be one of the, I think he's going to have a chance to be one of the better running backs in the NFL. And I do think he can get back to how he looked back in 2022 with this Packers offense. Is going to be very, very hard to stop. But if you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below. You can follow me on X, Twitter, and Instagram, LukeBeller3, and I'll see you guys next time.